Can I too acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands on which we meet and pay my respect to elders past, present and emerging. It is my great honour to welcome you all here today, including our live stream audience. At the University of Queensland, we're delighted to once again be co-sponsor of this landmark annual event. Each quarter, the Commonwealth Bank of Australia produces a report on the relative performance and economic momentum of the states and territories, entitled the CommSec State of the States Report. This report regularly ranks Queensland as having one of the nation's top performing economies. That conclusion is backed up by ABS data, which shows that Queensland is outperforming the nation across a range of indicators, including gross state product. This strong performance is at least partly a reflection of ongoing population growth, with our population increasing by 2.3% in the year to March 2023. That equates to an additional 124,000 people. Or to put it another way, we've added a city that's almost the size of Cairns over the past year. Naturally, many of these newly arrived Queenslanders are enticed by the promise of an enviable outdoor lifestyle. But without doubt, our state's economic performance is also an important factor in their decision. When you look at the amount of development that's already underway and the investment that will occur in the lead up to the 2032 Games, there is a very real sense that Queensland is entering a boom period. And that doesn't happen by accident. It's the end result of a focus on productivity, on innovation, on enterprise, and on the need to embrace change. There's something else that's shifted in the last 12 months, and it also hasn't happened by accident. In the last year, and I acknowledge the other university leaders here today, there has been a substantial shift in the way our universities are working with government and industry. Collectively, we recognise that we must be outwardly focused and open to collaboration, both with each other and with industry and government. As former Chief Scientist Ian Chubb astutely put it, it takes three to tango. In order to meet the social, economic and environmental challenges ahead, we need innovative, scalable and sustainable solutions. But these solutions will not be achieved unless universities, industry and government work together in highly targeted and effective tripartite partnerships. And what is so heartening to see is that genuine progress is being made. Take the biomedical sector as an example. Late last year, the global pharmaceutical company Sanofi announced that they would establish their Asia-Pacific base here in Brisbane. In partnership with the state government, Griffith University and UQ, they are standing up a translational science hub to advance cutting-edge opportunities in vaccine and drug development. And as another example, the state's plan for a thriving upstream battery sector draws not only on the strength of the emerging industrial base in this area, but on QUT's role in the National Battery Testing Centre, as well as the breadth of R&D capability across multiple other Queensland universities. Downstream, UQ and JCU are supporting the state's vanadium common user facility in Townsville, as we seek to keep more of the critical minerals value chain in our local economy. Moving into next generation aerospace, defence and transport capabilities, UniSQ and our entire sector, what we refer to as Team Queensland, is very active. And this approach extends to deep tech, where we're all playing a key role in the development of the Queensland quantum and advanced technology strategy. As a recent Harvard Business Review article puts it, quantum computing will underpin an explosion of algorithmic power that will transform a broad range of areas, including logistics, battery optimisation, agricultural technology, drug discovery, to name just a few. In short, world-class research and innovation must be part of the solution, not only to the challenges we face, but to our ongoing economic and social prosperity. At UQ, we're excited to partner with the Queensland Government, with our university colleagues, and with industry to support the growth of our great state. So on that note, it's my great privilege to invite to the stage the Honourable Annastacia Palaszczuk, Queensland's Premier and Minister for the Olympics and Paralympics, to deliver the 2023 State of the State Address. Thank you.
Thank you and good afternoon. I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which this event is taking place and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. I'd like to acknowledge my Cabinet colleagues, the Deputy Premier, Stephen Miles, the Treasurer, Cameron Dick, the Attorney General and Ministers Leonard, Ferner, Bailey, Ryan, De Brenny, Fentman, Farmer, Scanlon and Crawford. Let's give them a big round of applause. They're a great team. Can I acknowledge the mayors that are in the room? To Mike Kaiser, who's the Acting Director-General of the Department of Premier and Cabinet, to other Directors-General, Chancellors, Vice-Chancellors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Well, welcome and thank you for making the time to be here for the 2023 CEDA State of the State Address. It's 3 years since I launched our COVID Economic Recovery Plan at CEDA. It's a plan that has made Queensland's economy the strongest in the nation, with the fastest jobs growth on the east coast of Australia. There are 276,600 more jobs in Queensland than in March 2020. Our economy is set to grow at 3% this financial year, or twice as fast as the nation. We have lower debt than our southern neighbours. Taxes are $551 lower per person, and our export goods are over $125 billion. Over the year to the June quarter, business investment is up 5.6%. Investment in new dwellings is up 14.8%, with a record pipeline of housing investment ahead. Private sector engineering construction is up 12%, supported by our strength of our resources sector. And in further good news, unemployment has fallen across regional Queensland. Over the past year alone, 6,700 jobs have been created in Townsville. Now, to put that in perspective, when the Townsville nickel refinery closed, unemployment was over 11%. Today in Townsville, it's 2.7%, the lowest unemployment rate in Queensland. There are 11,000 more jobs in central Queensland, 5,500 more jobs in Toowoomba, 18,800 more on the Sunshine Coast, and 14,200 more jobs in Wide Bay, where unemployment has fallen from 10.1% to 5.7%, helped in large part by the reshoring of train manufacturing and defence manufacturing. In Cairns, unemployment has fallen from 7.9% when we came to government to 3.2%. All this economic strength continues to attract more people to move to our regions. Now, despite the strength in Queensland's economy, we know that Queensland families and households continue to be hurt by global and national pressures. As the world adjusts to the end of the pandemic, war has returned to Europe. The result is higher global interest rates and fuel costs. The rising cost of groceries and petrol are having a big impact on a lot of families. Interest rates are translating to higher mortgage repayments and higher rents. Overseas migration to Australia is expected to be the highest it has been since the 1960s. This is accelerating house prices at a time when interest rates would normally be slowing growth in prices. These cost of living impacts are hurting the families that can least afford it. Then there are the impacts of climate change, impacts that we are already seeing as we start a severe fire season. All of these global and national pressures are building up. These pressures are the greatest risk to our shared vision of equality of opportunity and a better future. As a state government, we will do everything we can to respond to these pressures, but we don't control interest rates, we don't regulate fuel prices, we don't set population growth nor overseas migration. What we can do is use our economic and financial strength to provide the largest cost of living rebates and relief in the nation and deliver the biggest infrastructure build in Queensland's history. The big build of hospitals, schools, transport infrastructure and social housing needed for our growing state. We are delivering on the Queensland Energy and Jobs Plan to provide renewable energy. And we are developing the skills and industry so that Queenslanders can secure the best paid jobs in the nation, providing rewarding careers and building a better future for our state and our planet. I will start with the support we are providing for cost of living. This quarter, all Queenslanders will see rebates starting to flow, providing $550 off power bills this financial year. For pensioners and seniors, the rebates are $1,072. These are the largest rebates on power in the nation. We are providing $44 million in rebates to households to buy energy-efficient appliances, to both lower emissions and to lower power prices. Today I can announce another cost of living measure, this time aimed at business. We will provide $35 million in further rebates to support small to medium businesses, including rebates up to $12,500 to install energy efficiency equipment. This builds on the $650 in power bill rebates already provided for small business. We have been able to provide record cost of living support because we have kept our energy assets in public hands and because we have ensured that Queenslanders receive a fair share on the returns from our coal royalties. In Queensland, we are delivering the big infrastructure build with more than $96 billion worth of infrastructure investment already delivered, in addition to another $89 billion over the next 4 years. That's a total of $185 billion of infrastructure investment. Already we have built, and I'm just going to name some here, 25 new schools. We've air-conditioned every state school classroom, built the second stage of the Gold Coast Light Rail. We've built the Queensland Country Bank Stadium in Townsville. And last week, I opened the huge expansion of the Cairns Convention Centre. New hospitals have been delivered in Roma and Kingaroy and Atherton, and a new counter-terrorism training centre for our police, the Smithfield Bypass, and more than 459 upgrades under the Bruce Highway Upgrade Program, just to name a few. Our government is also delivering the largest hospital building program in the nation, providing more than 3,000 extra hospital beds. There are 7 new satellite hospitals, 3 are already opened, in Ripley, Caboolture and Redlands. There are 3 new hospitals coming at Bundaberg, Coomera and Toowoomba, major expansions of 11 more hospitals across Queensland, and a new dedicated Queensland Cancer Centre. When it comes to transport infrastructure, we are building the Cross River Rail, a lot of work's happening underground there, the Gold Coast Light Rail Stage 3, the Coomera Connector Stage 1, or you might know it as the second M1, and upgrades to the Bruce Highway around Rockhampton, Bowen, Mackay to Proserpine, the Townsville Ring Road and Cairns. But friends, our investment in housing is now the largest on record, with a total commitment of $5 billion to deliver 13,500 affordable and social homes. And we won't stop there as we continue to engage through our Queensland Housing Roundtable. Amongst all of this, we are also delivering on the 2032 Olympic and Paralympic Games. And as I've said many times, we are drawing heavily on the infrastructure the state already has. The investment in Games infrastructure makes up less than 3% of the big build over the next 4 years. And we have announced a $180 billion procurement strategy so that businesses right across Queensland can share in a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It has now been a year since I launched the Queensland Energy and Jobs Plan here at CEDA to deliver affordable and renewable energy and to set up our regions for the century ahead. To make our existing industries more competitive and to create new industries in advanced manufacturing and critical minerals. To act as a magnet for investment so that more products are made in Queensland with renewable energy. We are investing $19 billion in renewable energy over the next 4 years in Queensland. That compares with a $20 billion plan nationally under Rewiring the Nation. Over the past year, Queensland has led the nation in the construction of new renewable energy projects. We have now started early works on Copper String 2032, with 40 works packages going out for expressions of interest just last week. This includes works on stringing and installation through to camp and also bus services. The $5 billion Copper String 2032 project will connect the largest renewable energy zone on the east coast of Australia with $500 billion of critical minerals. Early works, including geotechnical drilling, has now started on the Barumba pumped hydro storage and the world's largest Pioneer Burdekin pumped hydro. These projects will allow for even more jobs and manufacturing with reliable, renewable energy in North Queensland and Gympie and Wide Bay. The largest solar farm in Australia, the Western Downs Green Power Hub, has now been connected in partnership with CleanCo. The Dalaka wind farm has been connected to the grid supported by CleanCo. Construction has started on the Wombo wind farm that will be 50% owned by Stanwell, and work has started on the Kogan Creek Clean Energy Hub with CS Energy. And today I can announce the first hydrogen-ready gas turbines to be installed in Australia and operational by 2026. It will use renewable hydrogen made at the Kogan Clean Energy Hub. Work has now started on the Stanwell Clean Energy Hub that will use Maryborough-made iron flow batteries. Stanwell has also now entered into a partnership with Energy Storage Industries Asia Pacific to secure the first large-scale deployment of locally made flow batteries in Australia. Stanwell and Energy Storage Industries are now working on an initial 150 megawatt battery project with the ongoing rights to purchase up to 200 megawatts per annum. When it comes to the supergrid, the construction is underway on the connection of the McIntyre wind farm, one of the largest onshore wind farms in the world, and the Kidston pumped hydro. Construction of the supergrid is already supporting 570 jobs. And renewable energy generation has now risen to 26% in Queensland. The world is taking notice of what Queensland is doing. Since launching our Energy and Jobs Plan, connection inquiries have more than doubled from 10 gigawatts to 25 gigawatts. Companies want what Queensland has to offer, and this is just the beginning. Today, I can also announce that CS Energy will own 50% of the Boulder Creek wind farm in central Queensland, a project that will deliver another 228 megawatts of renewable power, with many more to come. But the supergrid will do more than just transmit renewable energy. On the top of those transmission lines, there will be fibre optic cable. To unlock that fibre, we established a government-owned business called Queensland Capacity Network, or QCN. Since being established, QCN has increased the amount of digital capacity it supplies across Queensland by 12-fold. Today, I can announce another $250 million investment to support a 100-fold increase in internet speeds in key parts of Queensland through the supergrid. This investment will bring fibre and wireless connectivity to the regions to bridge that digital divide. to create the largest publicly owned regional fibre network in the country. It will provide capital city speeds in the region, supporting high-paying tech jobs. It will support new opportunities to locate sovereign data centres near to renewables, energy, and support the data connections needed to advance manufacturing jobs in regional centres. Over the past 3 years, QCN has been working in the regions to improve digital connectivity, and businesses like John D export beef in Warwick. John D is one of the largest employers in Warwick, producing 9,000 cartons of export beef a day. Their digital connectivity was so poor, they had to drive to Brisbane with their little USB stick every week to download critical business data. Online banking, completely unworkable. The QCN solution for John D meant they could keep their back office and local jobs in Warwick. Their speeds are now 60 times faster. They can video conference with export customers, track supply chain inventories and logistics in real time, and upskill their team with online learning. Good digital connectivity keeps jobs and businesses in the regions. To support today's announcement, QCN and Powerlink will begin early works immediately on the CopperString 2032 section of the supergrid. These early works will lay the communication foundations for the construction rollout of CopperString. It's the first step in the much bigger rollout of QCN network across the supergrid. Importantly, communities along the Flinders Highway will get early access to superfast broadband by next year. Now, one of the greatest challenges to reaching our potential is providing access to the skills that are going to be needed for the future. That's why I moved to commit to providing free TAFE for Queenslanders aged under 25 in priority areas. In the past year, and this is an interesting statistic, but these are people you've got to remember. In the past year, 45,000 people have benefited in Queensland from free TAFE, and I meet them. These are people who now have careers in tourism, in nursing, in construction and manufacturing. Nothing succeeds like success, and our policy has now been taken up nationally. We are continuing with our investments to build the hydrogen and renewable energy training facility in Townsville and the Advanced Manufacturing Skills Lab in Cairns. That is in addition to having already delivered the Plumbing Industry Climate Action Centre, the Electro Group Renewable Energy Training Facility, the Townsville Interim Training Centre and Transmission Hub, and the Gladstone Supergrid Training Centre and Transmission Hub. There are no other facilities like these in the nation to train workers and get them ready for the renewable energy and hydrogen job opportunities. Now I want to talk to you about a topic you might not be familiar with, but it is now recognised worldwide as a new frontier. It is not enough to only provide the skills for existing technologies. We need to provide the skills in schools to create the technologies for a better Queensland future, to develop quantum skills. Quantum skills that can deliver new technologies to improve the efficiency of renewable energy, electric vehicles and batteries. Direct air capture to reverse climate change, new space technologies, advanced computing, sports tech, including treatment of things such as concussion, medical sensors that could treat diseases like Alzheimer's, and sensors to find the critical minerals to unlock that next mining boom that I talk to you a lot about. We want to provide Queenslanders not just with the opportunity to have the best paying jobs, but to have the careers that will change the world. Jobs where our young people can achieve their dreams and make a positive difference. When I first came to government, I led the nation on introducing coding into the school curriculum. Today, I can announce that Queensland will take a leading position in introducing quantum into schools and TAFEs by establishing a Queensland Quantum Academy. The Quantum Academy will be established between the Queensland Government, industry and universities. It's a partnership. Quantum skills are needed for technologies that engineer or manipulate matter or light at a very small or atomic and subatomic scales. We need these skills now because we are at the start of the second quantum revolution. The science up until now has supported most of the technological progress to date in things such as computers, energy, satellites, and medical imaging. Now, that technology development is now reaching a performance wall. The power of computers and medical imaging is not increasing at the rate it did in the 1990s or in 2000s, but that wall is about to be surpassed. Experts say that this second quantum revolution will be in new technologies, including breakthroughs in things such as pharmaceuticals. Using these innovations could deliver more power to computers to solve the most complex problems and provide new sensing and imaging and communication technologies. The National Quantum Strategy predicts that this second quantum revolution could generate 50,000 jobs by 2045. And I want Queensland to be at the forefront of these new technologies because that means good paying and secure jobs for Queenslanders. The smart state and our investment in Advanced Queensland built the foundations with world-leading quantum research. Queensland already hosts 2 of the Australian Research Council Centres of Excellence in quantum technologies, and we will host the next Centre of Excellence in quantum biotechnology. Today, I'm releasing our plan for Queensland to go to that next level and be a leader in the second quantum revolution. The Queensland Quantum and Advanced Technology Strategy will invest $76 million to support the commercialisation of Queensland's world-leading research in quantum technologies. The strategy will build on the new quantum and advanced technologies industry that is already developing right here in Queensland. So it's not futuristic, it's happening right now. Companies and universities are already working in this field. They include companies like Quest and Semifab, who are developing high-temperature compound semiconductors at Griffith University that will revolutionise renewable energy and electric vehicles. Then there is Silana, which has relocated to Queensland to provide ultraviolet technology with the aim to stop the spread of future pandemics. Intellel Design, who have developed a collision avoidance system for mining vehicles, and Analog Quantum Circuits, who are developing superconducting circuits for quantum computers out at the University of Queensland. Australia is currently the 3rd highest developer of quantum patents in the world. I bet you didn't know that. The investment in the first silicon microprocessors in California helped establish Silicon Valley. We now have the opportunity to follow Silicon Valley in Queensland with investments in quantum technologies. Now that's why our $76 million quantum strategy includes $20 million for technology development in partnership with our universities, $3 million for PhD support focused on commercialisation and supporting more women into the workforce, $1 million for quantum STEM programs in schools and vocational education, $5 million for Queensland Quantum Foundry to support new startups and partner with our Queensland Venture Capital Development Fund, and $10 million for a quantum bioinnovator to develop new biomedical technologies, $20 million for fabrication infrastructure to commercialise and upscale these technologies, $10 million to develop the quantum technologies to make renewable energy more efficient and cheaper, and $5 million to showcase Queensland's quantum technologies as part of the 2032 Olympic and Paralympic Games. The future of quantum is in Queensland. As Australia's chief scientist said last week at the World Quantum Congress in Washington, DC, and I quote, "To my mind, our quantum ambition is closely tied to these sectors: renewable technologies, including minerals extraction, health and medical technologies, and the supply chains for components such as those in semiconductor manufacturing. And in Queensland, we have it all. A world-leading energy and jobs plan, the most significant investment in Australia in the Queensland Critical Minerals Strategy, and now the largest commitment of any state or territory with the Queensland Quantum and Advanced Technology Strategy. All of these plans have one shared vision: for Queensland to be the state for high-paying, high-value jobs, good jobs. More of these good jobs are coming. We want our kids to have the opportunity to have these good jobs and to have those jobs in regional cities and towns where they grew up. To further deliver on this vision, I'm today inviting businesses to join us as part of the Skills Accord with industry. We need to get our kids, particularly in years 9 and 10, excited about learning science, technology, engineering and mathematics. That's why we will support regional job expos across our state to get their interest. These regional job expos will showcase the opportunities for students to work in exciting careers in emerging sectors that we are developing in Queensland, including advanced manufacturing with aerospace, space and defence, renewables and battery technologies, biomedical, biofuels, ag tech, creative industries. Now, this is building on the success of our Gateway to Industry Schools program that supported 31,000 students last year. So much of this economic future of Queensland is in our regions. Over the past 3 years, our regional COVID economic recovery plans have delivered new job-creating industries, whether that be VECO, who are now processing critical minerals, including vanadium in Townsville. And I think I mentioned vanadium about 5 or 6 years ago and everyone looked at me strangely. Well, it's all now happening. Boeing building aircraft in Toowoomba, or Downer making trains again in Maryborough. And now the Queensland Energy and Jobs Plan provides the renewable supergrid to set up our regions for the century ahead. To support Far North Queensland and Cairns to build the existing strengths in tourism and agriculture, with more good high-value jobs in advanced manufacturing, agriculture, aquaculture, renewable energy and creative industries. For Townsville to become the epicentre for critical minerals processing and new renewable manufacturing jobs, including battery manufacturing, hydrogen and biofuels. To deliver a new mining boom in northwest Queensland in the critical minerals such as vanadium that the world needs for renewable energy. To support our agriculture sector and outback tourism sector to lead the world. For the Mackay-Whitsunday region to become a manufacturing, biofuels and ag tech powerhouse. With firm renewable energy from the Battery of the North, the world's most powerful pumped hydro dam. For Central Queensland to continue to grow as an industrial and agriculture powerhouse supplied by renewable energy and building hydrogen electrolysers for the world. For the Wide Bay to grow even more manufacturing jobs and develop new biofuel opportunities. And for the Darling Downs to develop more new industries, including in agriculture, renewables, aerospace and biofuels. We will be progressively launching regional economic plans over the next year in consultation with local communities. Building on that work will be outlined in our regional transformation strategies. Now, in conclusion, friends, one and all, our plan is clear. It's to make Queensland a global leader, no matter the field, addressing some of the world's most complex challenges in healthcare, in energy supply, and in climate change. As we have demonstrated, our plans work. There are challenges, make no mistake. I recognise that and everyone in the room does too. But as I have detailed, there is no better place in the world to face down these challenges than right here in Queensland. There's no better place to live and grow a business. We are delivering nation-leading cost of living support, which as of January will also include free kindy. We have the biggest infrastructure build in our state's history. The Queensland Energy and Jobs Plan is going to set up our regional economies for the next century. And all of that means more well-paying and meaningful jobs, creating a better future for our state. When we commit to developing new industries in our regions in Queensland, we deliver. If we work together, our best days are well and truly ahead of us, and we are moving closer to them each and every day. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Premier. It's always great to be able to take time each year to get a bit of an overview of all of the incredible things that are going on in our state. And on behalf of CEDA, I'd like to thank the Premier for her regular attendance at these States of the State. And I suppose to just remind us, we can get quite complacent as Australians about how extraordinary this actually is in global terms, that we have a democratically elected female leader who comes, talks to people with a lot of senior people from government and in industry here without massive security, without people between the leaders and those that they're leading. And that's something that we just assume in Australia is a given, and yet it is actually quite unusual in global terms. So, Premier, thank you. Just reminding people, if they would like to be part of this discussion, you can use the Pigeonhole app. People are already excitedly asking questions. Even more importantly, you can vote for those questions, and we will be asking some of the questions that top the voting list. But I'm going to take the privilege of the person doing the interviewing to say I'm really excited about the quantum and advanced technologies announcement that you made today. As you'd imagine, Queensland's universities have certainly been working closely with the state government around this. What's your message for the business and industry leaders in the room about how they might be able to support this as well?
I think now with the strategy, people should have a look at it and have a read of it. And we also have some experts in the room, and we can actually connect you with these experts. But it is happening, it is real, it has the opportunity to do a whole lot of breakthroughs in all of those industries I mentioned. And we want Queensland to be at the forefront of that. And I'm actually excited. Every time I travel around the state, I'm meeting more and more young girls and young women interested in science and maths. Now, that may not have been the case 30 or 40 years ago, but we need to now step it up to the next level. So we need to have these regional expos, these jobs expos, to really highlight to people, if you study these particular courses, this is where you can end up. And we've got to get that into the schools now, so people are prepared for the enormous opportunities that are going to present to Queensland and to us. And industry, the universities and the government need to work together, and it's something that we have demonstrated over the years, and I know that there would be a lot of appetite in this room to get involved and to work with us on these exciting projects.
Premier. There's a lot of interest in the app, and can I say, if you're finding the app too difficult, you can put your hand up and we may be able to get to one or two questions in the audience as well about infrastructure. And you talked about the big build, really important areas, hospitals, schools, energy revolution, the Olympics, all of course really important things. But there are some concerns about the potential difficulties that there will be about labour and about supplies, particularly over the next couple of years. What's the government doing to try and make sure they don't become a bottleneck?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And as I said, we've got the largest infrastructure build, and we didn't just announce a few years ago 1 or 2 hospital expansions, we announced 11 hospital expansions, the 3 new hospitals, the new cancer centre. And I really want to emphasise today the 7 satellite hospitals that we announced, 3 already open, and we're already starting to see very clear evidence that if you build satellite hospitals closer to communities, it is already starting to take pressure off our emergency departments. And we did things a bit different there. We got everyone into a room and I said, these are going to be built and we need to think differently. We thought differently during COVID, then all of a sudden everyone goes back into bureaucratic roles. And I went, no, we're going to do things differently again. So let's sit down and work out how we can do the procurement faster, how we can get a model that we can replicate, and how we can advertise in time to have the staff. And the rollout is progressing very quickly, and all 7 satellite hospitals will be up and operational by October next year.
I might combine 2 questions here. Looking back over the last term of government, or since you became Premier even, You've obviously done a huge amount. Is there anything you're particularly proud of? And is there anything that in retrospect you might think, I wish we might have done that a little bit differently?
It's a very good question. I think it's summarised the best. I think I'm going to use Townsville as the example here. And, you know, when we came into office, unemployment was really high. And everyone has heard me say about the dignity of work. And I want people in work. I want to make sure that our kids have the opportunities. And I want our regions to specialise in areas so they can grow and prosper. And what we saw in Townsville is that when that nickel refinery closed, and I was just talking to someone about this at the footy the other night too, it was over 11%. And, you know, we had an emergency cabinet meeting up there. We looked at plans. We talked to the mayors about what we could do to accelerate employment. And now Townsville has the lowest regional unemployment rate in the state. Like, that is phenomenal. To go from over 11% to 2.7% is absolutely phenomenal. And now I think what we need to do is we need to make sure that business is well aware of the opportunities that this state is going to provide over the next decade. So we've talked about quantum, we've talked about renewable energy, we've delivered the plan for that, for the Queensland Energy and Jobs Plan, and it's a magnet for business attraction. Got people into work, the unemployment's come down. We said if we had a strong COVID response with health, we'd have a strong economy. We've got the strongest economy in the nation. So our economic plan is working, but that doesn't mean we don't have challenges. And coming out of COVID, we now have the challenges of health. We have the challenges of crime, which is a symptom as well of recruitment and getting more police out there. We need to make sure we're advertising to get more frontline health workers. And housing. Housing is a big issue. But these issues are not unique to Queensland. They are national issues. So whilst we don't have the big issue of employment to deal with, because the economy is booming, we now have these underlying issues, these national issues, which are really hard on families. I just want to make that point to people. There are families out there that are struggling to pay for groceries, for fuel, and that is why we are giving the largest cost of living support in the nation through electricity rebates and putting in place, I believe, really important initiatives like free kindy, which will begin next year.
Thanks, Premier. And you talked about the challenge of housing. And of course, it's wonderful that so many people are being attracted to Queensland and being attracted to our regions, but that has caused some problems with housing. How's the government addressing those?
I think we can put in perspective that 140,000 people moved to Queensland. Like the President Vice-Chancellor was just saying, that's, you know, like the size of Cairns moving to Queensland. That is putting enormous pressures. And a lot of people are also choosing to move to regional Queensland as well. So it's not just the southeast. These pressures are being felt everywhere. So in the council, the Deputy Premier is doing great work with the SEQ regional plan to also work out what is population growth going to be like over the next 10 to 20 years, and what do we have to do, what does industry have to do, and the councils and the government to make sure we're doing things differently. And that does mean some more high density and townhouses and other initiatives, you know, to ensure that people have a roof over their head. At the same time, rents are high, mortgages are high, people are struggling to pay the bills, but also too, there's issues of homelessness. And if you think about support for homelessness or rental assistance, or, you know, every now and again, sometimes people go through tough times. I met a beautiful couple down the Gold Coast. Their life wasn't tracking well. They had a baby. They said, we're going to put our life back on track. They're now in a beautiful 2-bedroom social housing unit on the Gold Coast. Completely turned their life around. And that stability now means that they can focus on getting employment. So we are regularly meeting with the Housing Roundtable, and we will be producing a housing plan to make sure that all of Queensland knows all the work that's going in, not just by government, but by the councils and also from industry as well.
Well, this time last year you were telling us about the way in which we're transforming energy and jobs. And there's a question here, and you may not agree with the premise of it, but let me just read it to you. Green hydrogen is not yet commercially attractive, with only countries investing those who have energy security requirements back home. How will that be surmounted in Queensland?
There's a huge interest in hydrogen. When I went on the trade mission over to Japan and to South Korea, it's very interesting. The big mining houses, the big coal companies that Queensland has had a long association with, and then through LNG as well, they usually now have two people I'm introduced to. The first person is the director of coal, and the second person is the director of renewables or the director of hydrogen. So you have these big companies that are investing in renewables and in hydrogen, and that is why, and plus what's happening in the US, once they can crack, shouldn't use the word crack, but once they can actually break what the price is, then you will see a huge investment. But Queensland is very well set up. We've already got a lot of interest and a lot of partnerships happening between companies and also the universities.
Unfortunately, we have time for only one last question, but about something that's very dear to, I suspect, all our hearts. We do have problems with getting enough people into teaching and keeping them in teaching, not just in Queensland, but around the country and indeed around the world. Would this government consider something like a scholarship scheme similar to Victoria, or have you got any other plans to try and make sure that we have a strong, healthy teaching workforce?
Oh, absolutely. And we know that we need to get to people, young people early and start getting them on a path of getting into teaching. We have incentives, not just for teachers, but also for police and nurses. And what you'll see at the moment is every state is trying to recruit from each other. But there's one thing that we have that the other states don't have, the enviable lifestyle. And I might close on this point. I was in Sydney the other week, and the first time I met this cab driver, he said to me, it was raining, he said, "Premier Annastacia, do you think I should move to Queensland?" I said, "Of course, it's a much better state. Of course you've got to come up here from New South Wales." I just saw him on Sunday. He said, "Annastacia, I've bought a place on the Gold Coast." I don't think I should be encouraging any more people to move here. We've got so much interest. But it just goes to show you that people, when they come here, they love it. We've got so much to offer. You can't blame people to moving here, but it does bring associated issues to deal with. But can I just say I'm very proud of my cabinet. I've got very strong leadership team that works with me. The Deputy Premier, Stephen Miles, the Treasurer, Cameron Dick, looks after the budget, makes sure everything's going well in that space. You know, we work very hard for this state, but all of the ministers, they're enthusiastic, they're engaged, they're out there with business and the community. And I honestly do believe that if we continue that engagement and putting people first, that, you know, Queensland, we have so many opportunities in this state, and we will be the envy of the rest of the nation if we aren't already.
Well, as somebody who moved to Queensland 5 years ago from sunny Melbourne, I could only echo those comments. Premier, thank you. I think one of the things the states remind us of is the complex job that state government has to do. They're subject to both global and national forces over which have limited control. They need to work in multiple geographies, from in Queensland, regional and remote Queensland, to major cities and to the southeast corner. And they need to be constantly thinking at different levels of timing. How do we deal with the urgent and immediate causes of shortage of housing and cost of living for people? How do we start building up to that medium term around things like the Olympics and some of the big infrastructure programs? but how are we also thinking about 20, 30, 40 years out? And I think seeing quantum and advanced technologies really front and centre of your speech is a great indication of the way we're trying to work across all of those multiple and complex areas. So could you please join with me in thanking the Premier for her time today? And I'll now call upon Megan Kavanagh from our wonderful sponsors, Collins, Biggers and Parsley, who will give a formal vote of thanks.
Thank you, Premier, Professor Terry, AO, VC of University of Queensland, and Professor Evans, Vice-Chancellor of Griffith University and CEDA State President, for the vision and analysis provided today. It's invaluable to understand these insights, I think, as we move forward to plan for our own business continuity, to understand that the value of education, the connectedness that's being provided to power our state and to harness the promise of quantum systems. I think we might coin the phrase Quantum Queensland to rival Silicon Valley. Considering the investment that we've heard of today, feel free to use it, don't worry about attribution, to ensure that businesses can unlock the promise of efficiency, advancement and economic opportunity. I think we've been provided with a great roadmap for understanding the challenges and opportunities, both, and the plan for harnessing and pivoting our energy sector towards both renewables and traditional energy models. Thank you also, and my great thanks to Shannon Rusker for welcoming us to this place today and providing us with connections and connectedness to the land on which we work and live and the opportunities that we want to share with everyone. Thank you also to Clint O'Brien and the CEDA team for all your work, providing us with these valuable insights and opportunities to learn and understand the vision for our great state. So thank you all and thanks for coming.
Megan, thank you very much for wrapping us up. Lovely. Can I just point out, it's pretty rare at CEDA, well, anywhere, any time really, that you get to share the stage with three ladies and no other dudes. I think that's pretty excellent, and I feel truly privileged and humbled to be up here and share the platform with you, so thank you all. Premier, thank you very much for your address today. Vice-Chancellor, President, thank you very much for leading the conversation. We appreciate it very much. As somebody who studied education and never taught, let me tell you, Premier, I think the strong focus on education and our future generations is a brilliant thing. I'd rather be up here standing with you than teaching them, but of course we need people who will do that. So kudos to you for the investment. A couple of things coming up here next for CEDA in Queensland. On the 31st of October, we'll have Minister Fentiman speaking to our members here in Queensland. I believe the minister's in the room with us somewhere here. We also have some dates up on the screen of the next coming pieces in our program. You'll see a national live stream from the Federal Housing Minister, and hopefully before the end of the year, we plan to bring you our next Brisbane 2032 Olympic Forum as well. I would like to finally thank the CEDA team for all of their efforts here today. It's been a big one, so thank you, team, to those who are based here in Queensland and also those who have flown in to assist us. We really appreciate the help. Thanks, guys. And I would, of course, like to wrap up by thanking our sponsors of today, the University of Queensland, Collins, Biggers and Paisley Lawyers, and of course, Energy Queensland. Thank you all for your ongoing support. And to all of you, thanks very much for your support of the Committee of the Economic Development of Australia. Do go well, take care of each other, Queenslanders, and we'll see you in 12 months' time. Cheerio.
Traveling in slow motion, paddling with no question.